Okay, I think I will already start because we don't have much time. We just have an hour, and I would like to give everyone the time to explain their own initiatives and yeah, to be able to have some time to share what we are here today to discuss. Well, first of all, thank you, MFC, for having invited FEBEA. And me in particular to present what we are doing and what the ecosystem of ethical finance, social finance is doing with youth engagement in social finance. My name is Maria Elejal, as you can see here, and I work at FEBEA, and FEBEA is the European Federation of Ethical Banks and Alternative Financiers. We are not representing exactly microfinance institutions as MFC does, but we come together in the space and the framework of the social finance, no? As with other type of sustainable banks or different financiers. And today we're here to address this youth engagement in social finance topic, which I think is very relevant for most of our organizations. Because I've heard this question of like, where are the motivated young people, or why are young people not engaging with us anymore, or are they lazy, or they don't want to work? So because I know for a fact that this is not like that, or not 100% true, we think that this topic is like super relevant. For some of your organizations, the problem or the issue must be could be more at the level of shareholders or clients. If you're a banking institution and maybe you don't know how to get to new clients or new members or new cooperators, and some of other institutions might face the problem of not having access to young workers or young workforces. So we will hear a variety of cases today that will be presented by Florian, Yolanda, and Nicoleta later in all these levels that I mentioned before. Because FEBEA members, which are financial and non-financial institutions pushing for different economic system that places the planet and the people in the center of all the decisions that we make that have to do with money or have to do with governance, and that they believe in the construction of a better, more democratic economic system. They all come together under the FEBEA umbrella, and we've heard from the organization more than one time that this generational renewal challenge, it's a real challenge. No? The people who started these organizations 20 or 30 years ago, they're not so young anymore, and they haven't seen a fluent renewal of people coming into their institutions at all levels that I mentioned before. So because this problem was like a current one in many of the organizations, in 2024, we conducted a workshop organized by FEBEA that brought together social finance, social economy, and microfinance organizations, and young people active in the field of social economy and social finance that were a bit already knew about this world. They were engaged, and the objective of this workshop was to bring them together in the same table to discuss mainly two things. What can social economy and social finance do for younger generations, and what can these young people bring to the table of social finance institutions? No? So it was a very interesting conversation. Some of them had never met the other part before. So it was very interesting to see. And some of the key points that came up, I would like to share them today. And it's first that the youth participation is essential for the sustainability of this sector. And whoever doesn't see it today, they will have problems in the future, in the probably near future. So we need to really find ways. It's something that should be central and like a priority for most social finance organizations. Another thing that came up is that offering incentive is necessary to attract and retain young involvement. We cannot assume that all young people, just because of their goodwill or a lot of time available, will be engaging with our institutions if they don't see anything good for them in that interaction. And many of them are facing problems to pay rent, for example, with these housing problems that we see nowadays. And we cannot assume that they can engage, for example, with unpaid internships or volunteering programs without getting anything in return. This interaction doesn't always have to be money, but we have to consider that the young people, they also need incentives to participate in things. And if that they don't do so, it's not because they don't care or they don't, It's important also to move beyond engagement and focus on empowering young individuals. No, so to provide the training, the information, the technical assistance required to make these individuals autonomous actors of the ecosystem, and not only like little puppets that they do what we want from the organization and they go to this event or they participate in this program that we did for them. The idea is that they become independent and autonomous actors, and that they can bring new ideas and new perspectives and usually fresh, to the table as well. This will make us shift from superficial involvement to authentic collaboration. And leads us to the last point that for me is one of the key points of this issue, and that is that young voices should be integrated in the decision-making of the process for a genuine impact. It's not enough to have like a youth group, or it's not enough to have this specific event or this specific training, or we need to put young voices in the creation of products, of services, of communication campaigns that then we intend to target these younger generations. No, I've seen the creation of financial products or services intended for young people, with no young voices in the creation of those products or services, and then we ask ourselves why they didn't work out, or why how could they could not be successful. No? And the idea is that it's essential to have a diversity of perspectives on this creation of products and stuff. So after having these very interesting workshops in 2024, as I say, I will share the results later in the chat. FEBEA has started to implement specific activities for young people interested in social and ethical finance, such as we organized in-person encounters. We had an exchange of activities between youth groups of different ethical banks to see the diversity of the ecosystem. We wrote policy positions about youth who participated in Erasmus Plus projects. And the most recent activity that we did is to create a youth working group from and with young people, for young people, so aged from 18 to 35, to be able to integrate those voices in the ecosystem of the ethical finance movement at the European level, with people that are active in the sector, and that we provide them with a space just basically to voice out what they need, what they want, how do they see things, no? And then integrate this age gap as well in the co-creation of the new generation of social finance providers. As a result of all these activities that FEBEA has done, I'm here today moderating this panel, but not alone. Today I am also bringing with you, with me, some speakers that will exchange ideas on how to engage with young people in a community base, with shareholders, with clients, but also with workers in their own experiences in a very diverse Europe. And we will hear about, for example, experience of a youth group in a bank, ethical bank in Spain, who has managed to mobilize over 70 people around 18 to 35, who have become not only clients after participating in this group or shareholders, but also promoters of the ethical bank's mission amongst other youth groups in Spain. And some others have even found working opportunities in the social finance and social economy sector. We will also hear about a Swiss ethical bank that is also a member of FEBEA, that has created specific products and services to attract younger clients and workers, and that actively engage with universities and a lot of places where the youth is, and invest in their communities to make this younger generation thrive in a genuine way. No? And finally, we will also hear about a human resources manager from a microfinance institution in Romania, who will explain the situation and the context there, as well as the steps taken and the lessons learned in the process of hiring and recruiting new young workers. So what I wanted to do when we were presented with the idea of moderating this panel, it was to bring practical examples of what is being done on the ground, so you can learn from it or even share your own experiences. And also to put young people in the center of the discussion and in the conversation, because the point I mentioned before, no? So if we're talking about like how to engage with youth and what best option at putting young people here to explain things, and then having the possibility to directly ask them questions or share ideas. No? So after all this, let me present you the first speaker, which is Yolanda del Olmo. She's a user experience designer, very experienced in scaling up startups in various industries like climate technology, AI, logistics, and very important, she has been a member of Jóvenes por Fiare since 2023. It's this youth group from the ethical bank in Spain that I mentioned before. And she has also helped spread the word about ethical alternatives in very, very diverse contexts. So, Yolanda, thank you very much for sharing your time with us today. And I leave you the floor.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So I will let me check, please, if I can. You can see my screen. So you can see my screen. Just confirm, maybe
Yes.
Maria or whatever.
We can see it.
Okay. So thank you, Maria, for introducing myself. So it's a step I have to skip. So thank you so much. I'm here, as Maria said before, to introduce you the young group that Fiare Banca Etica has been built for the past 6 years. I would like you to share as well the challenge that we are facing in Spain in terms of youth and the knowledge they have about finance and ethical alternative. And lastly, I would like to show you some activities that they were really useful for us for connecting young people at the end and then getting involved in alternative banking. Like, for example, Maria, for example, a diverse member of FBA that are quite young. They actually belong to, at the beginning, they belong to Jóvenes por Fiare, and they are working and join in the workforce for some banking. Okay, so as I said before, hello, we are around more than 70 members in Spain, and we are people from different territories. This is what's critical for us, because normally, I don't know if it's happened that in your countries, but it's pretty common that the thing happens only cities. And the idea is to make this something that happens along all the country, not to be completely focused in cities, because ethical alternatives should be include people not only related with urban areas. We need to impact in smaller cities and people with different reality. Okay, first of all, I'm not sure how many people knows about Fiare Banca Etica, so I will make a little smooth introduction about that. It's a free independent cooperative bank that works for the highest interest, the collective interest. But what exactly means that? We do that through 6 principles we have. I would like to start with the cooperativism principle, because for me it was one of the most powerful principles that I have this bank, as we recognize the right member who participate in decision making. One member, one vote. It doesn't matter how many products you already have in the bank. It doesn't matter how much money you have. You have the space to participate in decision making of the bank, whatever. Secondly, of course, we are in FBA, ethical, the ethics part. So ethical, we consider that we should guide human behavior, but of course, banking. And lastly, transparency. We have different artifacts, processes in order to explain to different users and customers, but even people from outside, what are the activities and how they are aligned to this principle. Okay. The fourth principle I would like to share is about the peace. We really believe that banking should be a tool to build peace, because the finance should be at the service of the people and society. So one of the goals of this project is we never gonna finance company that is dedicated to construction to weapon. We don't finance the war, okay? And these times where there are so many conflicts, they are becoming more and more relevant, this approach. 5 is the environment. We demand to respect and care for the environment and development of any economic activity. And this is something we are taking care even in our own internal processes as well. And lastly, the bank is a tool, again, for contribute to achieve equality. In order, this is one thing I mentioned before. We don't not focus in the cities. We want to impact in different situations. We want to impact in different realities. And this is something that we do as well through the bank, in order to, like boosting like a project with feminist approach in order to support and building network between different projects that doesn't matter the size of the hub or even the approach. We help also to complement the different projects in order to have social impact in Spain and Italy, of course. Sorry. Okay, perfect. Okay, now we came here to talk about young people, and I would like to tell you the story what happened in Fiare. It was 2018, and the average age of the member was 50 years old. We have a drama because we are talking about future, we are talking about changing the world, and of course, most of the people, they are 2 steps from the retirement. So what happened with the people who are gonna enjoy and gonna take the lead of this transformation tool that I really described beautiful. So this question arises: how we introduce young people in ethical finance, something that appears within the bank, and we have a challenge. It was a hard situation. I don't know how it's in the rest of the country in Europe, but in Spain we have around 70% of the young people that's been under 35 admit they have a lack of basic knowledge of how they manage their money. They are completely aware they don't have that knowledge. But apart from that, we have a fear of the future economic stability. So we don't have the tool, but we don't know what is going to happen. But also on the other side, we have almost 70% of the young people, they are super interested in learning about concepts related with saving, investing, and credit. And this is a huge opportunity for alternative banks because they are willing to learn this. But what is the situation in Spain? We have a low and limited knowledge about ethical finance among young people. This is not an alternative is very well known in Spain. So we don't have a tool. We have one of the biggest banks in the world in Spain, and they have a lot of resources to show about how should be finance done, and also it's from a very capitalist and very extractivist angle. And also, this is another thing. Hello, alternative banking, and I'm gonna make a big statement on that. There is no tailored banking product for young people. And this is something that I want to put in the spotlight because I say the banking where this banking project was funded for people that currently they have 50 years old. It's not the same reality of the people that we want to impact as alternative banking. And this is something that we have to start discussing that. Okay, so with this situation on that, I would like to welcome Jóvenes por Fiare, Youth por Fiare. It's a space for young activists in Spain. And I would like you to share some figures because it's actually quite a successful because this started when one person of the bank I just realized that they were super older people and they need to attract young people. And currently we are around more than 70 members. And our range is between 18 and 30 years old. But how we do that? And this is one of the things I want to show you because most of the problem that we have the young people, we don't know this kind of banking exists. And this person thought, okay, maybe I'm gonna ask for money to the bank and I'm gonna spend this money to show what actually these banks are transforming society. Okay, and this is something that I will go deeper in the next slide, but this is a bet that the bank already made for this with this approach. So we can't wait until for the young people came proactive to us. We need to go there, especially because we are a banking that we are putting our most of our resources to change the world. We don't have to invest so many money to do the marketing to show that we are changing the world. So we have priorities, no? And also another figure I would like to share is like, as I said before, we are spread among the country. As a person that grew up in an island isolated in the south, is something that I'm very super proud of that. And also we really believe this collaboration and it's based on in the network, in the nurturing and in taking care. And what does mean? For example, we help to establish new youth-led organization. Based on this example, as I said before, Fiare Bancaetica is a bank they are based in 2 countries. We helped to launch another young group we teach them our approach, or what worked for us, what didn't work for us. And they are in less than 1 year, they have more 40 members, if I don't recall wrongly. And it's something that is a network that actually is growing. So helping to understand that the situation that young people in Spain is facing is super similar to Italy. Is something that help us to grow us, and also to capture the different vision that they have based on the country. For example, in 1 month, maybe Maria, if I'm wrong, yes, in December, we're gonna have a meeting together, the two groups, in order to share the learning after 1 year. So this is another thing that we are impacting. We are not only showing ethical alternatives, but we are building networks. And it's something that actually, in this current mood that war is the only answer, this is something is critical, because we need to build empathy, but I really believe we need to build collective answer, collective solution. And this is something that, thanks to this group, for example, for me, is something that I'm finding ways to do that. Even a small scale, but I think we are having the feeling that we are doing something, and we are changing our surrounding as well. But I want to show some data regarding the impact. Several members, as I said at the beginning, end up joining with an ethical alternative project in Spain. Like, for example, I mentioned a few members of Jóvenes por FIARE is actually joining in FEBEA and working from there. There are people from this group that end up working in the bank, but thanks to being FIARE, there are so many people that are discovering a different project related with the social economy. And this is not only so, this group is not only just a networking place, as I said before, but also it's a booster to start engagement and introducing the young people in the workforce in more alternative companies and projects that having this social impact in mind. Okay. Also, as I said before, this is a strong bet from FIARE and Banca Etica. What I mean with that, they are workers that they are only focused on that. They are helping that. They are gonna organize events. They are, because they put in FIARE is putting, we have our own budget, and they are putting resources to the people meet each other, because as I say, we are for freak in Spain, so they are doing their best to put all together. So if we have like, for example, we have a yearly encounter, this is something that FIARE help us to meet encounter. The encounter we're going to have in 1 month with Italy, again, they are helping, we are providing these resources. As I said before, the reality that we are facing, the young people, in terms of money, in terms of stability, is completely different. And building this bridge between the material reality that maybe we need to meet each other, for example, to get to the courses, is something that FIARE is the approach they are taking. They are making of it. And lastly, in the strategy there for the next 5 years, if I don't recall wrongly again, the involving youth is a core goal in the strategy of the bank. So it's not, as I say, Maria, at the beginning, this is not about, oh yes, let's engage with the young people. No, let's make it real. Let's do it this material, and let's start putting resources in order to make it. Even with this team started with only 4 or 5 people, and currently we are 70. But this was the approach. Like, let's give the resource to make this happen. And lastly, as I said before, this is a space for discussion to include your vision and challenge. But also it's a door where some people start discovering alternative banking. It's the place, for example, it was the case. I didn't know that this kind of environment exists until I joined this group. So this 69% I mentioned, the people willing to learn, is the target. This is the people we are impacted on that. Okay. So what are the goals after this speech I made? So we are promoting ethical and cooperative finance among young people. This is what I say. There are a lack of knowledge about that. This is what we're doing. Where we are doing that? We are going to schools, but we are going to bars as well. We are going to places where the young people, and also we are talking in a more cool way, in the same word that the people use. Because when you talk about economy, first of all, there is only one approach: super capitalist, extractivist, and The alternative is in a very, very well-formed people in a very serious forums, and this is something that we have to move that, because it's noisy to enter in that space. So the thing we are doing is doing the reverse. Okay, let's move the ethical finance and move it in this place that young people are there. And also, we are something that the approach is also having fun in the sense of nurturing. Let's avoid to do this tedious. This is something the people really, young people really want to change the world. Actually, we are exhausted or listening bad news all day. So we are super tired. So let's do this in our opposite. Don't do like, oh my God, this is terrible. Let's do it in a fun way. Let's do to show what are the results of that, to show. And this is when we start doing this approach, the rest start growing, because more people are encouraged to talk about ethical, discussing about different alternatives of banking is not something that you can talk in your family dinner on Monday night. So this is the thing we are building here. Let's try to find the freak space to talk about future in a positive, optimistic way with real tools that are actually transforming the society. So what we do, so this is the theory, what we do. For example, things what we are doing. We are invited to visit bank-funded projects, national and worldwide. For example, in March, I was in Honduras, thanks to as a member of Jóvenes por FIARE, and we were presenting and introducing the group in Honduras in an event that were more than 70 countries from South America. And we had the opportunity to learn how the different the countries were having the same issues and how they were having answer of that. But also, for example, you see in the first picture, one thing that we do is just visiting, because we don't know what actually the bank is doing. So, okay, let's show that. Let's show that. And and on 3 or 4 people, or even a few workers of the bank, they travel there and they have a guide about to understand the reality, to understand what actually the impact and how actually FIAR is transforming. Because transforming society is something that is beautiful in a slide. But when you see it, when you actually see what is the value of that. And this is the way you engage youth. Actually, youth working on any person. Show reality, show detail. And another thing we do and something I say before, we organize training, talks, and workshops about ethical finance and social economy. For example, in Madrid, we have 6 months ago, we have a workshop was organized purely for young people. And the idea was, how do you get people know about ethical finance? And it was an event, and it was 40 people there. For us, it's a success. Remember, 70% of the young people doesn't know anything about finance. So being people on Thursday night talking about ethical finance, this is the thing we are starting doing there. And also we participate in performance as awareness activity and event festival. Let's do guerrilla, guys. Let's go to a festival. Let's change the narrative. Let's change the space where we talk about ethical finance. And this is something what we do. For example, in this case, we went to a festival and we were wearing like a banking, and they were showing different signal or whatever, and different flyers explaining that, okay, this is from the Badis, but they are other kind of banks, and they make it like a performance of bad guys, not the banking. But there are so many people that maybe this could be the only place they can see this kind of project. And lastly, maybe I'm okay on time. Sorry, Maria, if I took so much time, but I always get super excited about this. If now this is one of the last encounters that we have. As you can see, we have people from different parents. The background is completely different as well. So we don't looking for people that are actually very economic focused background. Actually, me, I'm a person. I'm the pure example. I didn't know anything about economy, and actually I'm here talking about you, and also my friends are actually tired of me about talking economy. I'm that kind of person. So. But the thing is, like, I see this as a success because it's based on of a vision, but also based on the focus on caring and nurturing the networking between people. Okay. And lastly, if anyone wants to follow us in In Instagram, we are here. This is place we inform what we are doing or whatever. So I think this is all. So if any of you have any question or whatever, I will be more than happy to answer. Or maybe later then. I don't know.
Thank you so much, Yolanda. Yeah, we're gonna address all the questions at the end.
Okay,
So
perfect.
if you have any questions for Yolanda, write it down, and then at the end we can address it. For me, it's super interesting, well, super inspiring to hear you explain the group, because I also have belonged to it. Well, I do belong to it, so it's very, for me, Jóvenes por Fiar, it's always a good example of a very good practice of an institution, a financial institution that believes in what they do. They know what they do is right. It's just like they're not maybe communicating it in the correct channels. They prioritized engaging with youth, and prioritize means to invest time, people, and resources, money, on making something happen. And then they gave the tools to the protagonist of this story, no, which are the young people. And as you explained, Yolanda, then after you do all these things happen, no? And we see a very committed people of like really believing that ethical finance can change the world, and it's super fun. So I'm looking forward to December. Now we're gonna go a bit more to the center of Europe. We're gonna hear Florian Barras, who is a board member of Alternative Bank Switzerland. It's a FEBEA member, also an ethical bank that pursues a sustainable and inclusive finance in a context where it's not such a common approach. His PhD dealt with ethical banks in post-growth economics. So, and Florian will share his organization's experience in engaging with youth at many different levels. Thank you, Florian, for your time and for being with us today. And the floor is yours now.
Thank you, Maya, and thank you, Yolanda, for your presentation. That was really interesting to know what you do. I'm very happy to present what we do here at the Alternative Bank of Switzerland. I will present in a very short presentation first what we are, a bit of our history, and then also what we do for young people and our main challenges as well. So just for brief introduction into what we do, we are an ethically motivated bank. We've been created 35 years ago, and our mission was always to use financial tools for pro-environmental and socially responsible projects. But we are born out of an anarchist and alter-globalization movements, actually. And so that's why we are keen on being very transparent and democratic in our organization. So our main mission is to further the common good, humanity, natural world. And in order for us to do that, of course, we cannot maximize our profitability. We have to be guided by our ethical principle. Just to give you a little bit about the size that we are a very, very small bank in the landscape of Switzerland. We are about 170 people working for the bank, but we are supported by about 40,000 customers and almost 10,000 shareholders. We are not a cooperative, but we use some key things that exist in cooperative. For example, our shareholders cannot own more than 5% of shares. So we try and distribute power within the shareholders. We are also very intentional about diversity and fairness because, for example, we have in our management position, 50% of people are women. And we also have the rule of not having a higher ratio between the lowest and highest salary, higher than 5. And currently in 2024, we were at 3.65. Just a little bit about the total assets that we represent. We are 2.6 billion. It can seem like a lot, but it's really not a lot in Switzerland. We are about 0.08% of the total market in Switzerland. So that means that even if we grow by a tenfold, we are still under 1% of the total market. So we are a really small bank, but we are a big voice, I must say. Regarding youth, we have 4 main areas to connect with them. We have us as an employer, we have us as a contributor to education and research. We have our banking products that we have created for young people, and the way also that we use our loans, our financial tools to support organization that supports young people. So these are the main 4 ways that we have dedicated resources to young people in the bank. As an employer, maybe one thing that must be said, in Switzerland, we have this vocational education and training system, which allows young people after school to actually train in a company for 3 years while doing part-time school on the side. So they are in a company for 3 days and they have 2 days of schooling on the side. Not every company takes part in this system. Most bigger ones do, but it takes a lot of resources to actually ensure that the right amount of education is dedicated for them. So in this system, we have an offer where we propose for people at the age of 14 to actually come for a 2-day trial to see what we do at the bank and have a first experience. So that's the first thing that we do. And then we offer 2 apprenticeship positions per year. This is every year, 2 new young people after school that is joining the bank. We also have one thing that is well known in Switzerland that is called Future Day. It's for young people between 11 and 13 years old. And in this specific day in Switzerland, every young people of this age range actually go into a company. They accompany an adult, which can be a parent, a relative, a friend. And this is really cool because they have a hands-off experience of what is actually the bank, the company that their parents or relatives work in. And at ABS, we organize a special program for them. We try to make it fun, to make it cool. And for example, one of the key activities that we show them the back of an ATM, what does an ATM looks like, which of course is fun because it shows a lot of money. We are also a big contributor to education and research. As you may experience in your own organization, you may have a lot of people that want to have information that are engaged in research and education. And what we try and do is to really give time and efforts to people that are willing to communicate with us, to connect with us. So one of the first things that we do is to go into university, go into college and share our expertise, our knowledge, what is ABS, what we do, why is ethical banking important, social finance important, and so on. So that is one of the first things. And I think last week or last year, I'm not sure, 2 colleagues of mine, Carola and Catherine, actually welcomed a group of high schooler from the city of Zurich and show them around in the bank to see what we do. So that's kind of the things that we are involved in to actually try and connect with people where they are at. We also support research. When students actually contact us, we really try to make sure that we answer. So we give them time to have interviews with us, statements, we respond to surveys. We really try to help them make the education and research that they want to do. And just for the hint, I actually benefited from this when I was doing my own research during my PhD, because the ABS, the Alternative Bank of Switzerland, was actually one of the banks that I contacted, and I was able to have a lot of interviews with them. So that was something that I experienced myself. And lastly, we have made last year a case study for teaching material. So it's in the context of academic community for adult education. Case studies can be used to help people, for example, in economic background, have a case that they can use to actually understand what they are taught in theory. And so we contributed with such a case on the development process of our strategy, for example. So that's things that we do to try and connect with young people in education and research. Also, in terms of banking products, and here I must say that we are pretty small in the way that Switzerland works. because we have children's saving accounts for children's future that adults are actually using for sparing money and give them the money at 18. We have youth everyday account, which is an account for people between the age of 14 and 18. And we have an education account for people age 16 to 30. The youth account for 14 between 18 is actually connected to all of our banking products, but they do not have access to credit cards and mobile payments, for example. And the education account, they have access to everything that we do. And the main thing that is different in terms of these young accounts between our regular accounts is that we cover the fees. So people in the fees, people can use this account for free as long as they do not use, as they do not ask for special transaction and stuff like this. Is my internet connection fine? I'm seeing a bit of instability. Perfect, cool.
Yeah, so far it's fine.
Okay, perfect. And lastly is how we use actually our tools, our financial power to actually support the development of organizations that support young people. So for example, we support schools, especially we support Waldorf, Steiner School, which are focused on building a different type of schooling based on creativity, for example. But we also support daycare centers, integration support services for youth, youth social work organization, and so on. And what is specific about that is that these types of organizations are in our encouragement criteria, which means that we prioritize these types of financing when, for example, we are lacking resources, time, and money and stuff like this. We will always prioritize these type of financing first. And so it means that prioritize young people or organizations that support young people as a key things that we do. But these were the four pillars that actually we are using to connect with young people. And of course, we have several challenges that I wanted to share as well. The first thing is about our shareholders. They are unfortunately getting older. As I said earlier, we are in this trade since 1990, actually, and many of our original shareholders are still there. So they are really faithful. But what we've been seeing is that when, unfortunately, they passed, when their children inherit their trade, their shares, they actually try and sell it. They do not maintain the share. They do not. They do not have the share with them. They try to sell it, and that's a shame. So we really want to try and encourage our shareholders to accompany this this giving out of the share to the younger generation. So that's one of the key challenges. And the second one is about digitalization. We are ethically driven, which means that digitalization is not a priority. It can become a priority if it helps our ethics, our mission. But that means that we are not a leader in terms of digitalization. And more, we have a lot of competition from neobanks that's also specify being an ethical bank as well. So that means that the competition is getting a little bit more difficult in this market. So digitalization is going to be crucial to remain connected to young clients in the future. But I think that here we also have an advantage is because we are really connected to our values, and young people, there are a lot of young people that actually do not care about our products. They just want to be part of what we do. And that means that we have a bit of leeway in terms of what we can offer, even though we might not be the best in digitalization, they could be acceptant of the trade-off that it means to be with us and be with an ethically driven bank, for example. Just one thing that I'm thinking about right now is also, as we are sociocratic, we are a democratic organization. We are using the principle of sociocracy to govern the bank. That means that everybody in the bank has a voice. And this is really key because That means that even if we have young people in the bank, they can also voice their opinion and we would listen. And I think also one key thing about our way that we want to actually foster young people, I'm probably a good example of this because I'm in the board, a non-exec board member, and I'm 34, which means that I'm really young for a board member. And I feel at the ABS that I have a voice, that I'm listened to. And this is a great opportunity that I'm seeing with people in the bank, in that they are very positive about the fact that I am young as well. So that's also something that I wanted to share. So that's it for me today. I'm also happy to answer any questions at the end.
Thank you, Florian. Thank you very much for sharing all this. I think it's very interesting, all this ecosystem, and to see how you really are present where the youth is in a very different levels, like financing them, but also supporting research and creating products. I don't know. I find very interesting, and I found very inspiring what you said about when people contact the bank, you give them time. And this is something that a resource that is not very available nowadays, not time. So I think it's also a bit key on how we connect with a lot of organizations or people, but in this case, young people. I will present you now the last speaker. This is Nicoleta Cojocaru. Nicoleta, you have over 12 minutes to explain a bit more of the Vitas Romanian example, which is a microfinance institution, and she is the human resources manager there. She will present us her experience on attracting and integrating youth talent in the microfinance sector. So Nicoleta, thank you for your time today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Let's see my. Do you see my screen now?
Yes, we see it.
Yeah, it's the presentation from the beginning. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. My name is Nicoleta Cojocaru. I am the Human Resources Manager at Vitas Romania. We are a global communities company, part of Vitas Group. We will see now our experience in the space of Romania of attracting and integrating young talents in the microfinance sector. In the last year, we invested significantly in digital skills development and organizational transformation. We mapped the digital capabilities needed for the future, migrating data, introduced a new platform, and launched an online lending product, which brought us new roles in technical support and application processes. During this transition, we also observed that our average age was increasing. You will say that is a sign of loyalty and stability, but at the same time, we're observing a generational shift among our clients, as many small family businesses are now passing on to the next generation. All these informations highlighted the need to ensure continuity and generational renewal for the future of our organization. But we didn't start now. Over the years, we had built a strong relationship with the universities and career guidance center, which has allowed us to stay in contact with the new generation. We developed dedicated internship programs, offered mentorship for bachelor thesis projects, provided career coaching, and supported students in exploring their professional directions. All this experience have provided us a lot of valuable insights in how the people, the youngers learn, how they work, and how they engage with the social finance. Also, we had a focus on taking part in diverse competitions where they presented their plans and their entrepreneurial abilities and competencies. These are part of the events that we took over the years. But attracting young people is only the first step. The real challenge lies in integrating them into existing teams and retaining them along enough for skills and confidence to develop. Very important for us is this point that my colleagues also highlighted: clarity, fast feedback, visible impact, and digital-first collaboration. These are also our conclusion about what they need, and the first step is what can we do further. Their motivation grows when they see how their contribution matters to clients, to teams, and to community. As we continue to integrate the new generation while preserving our organization identity, we plan to future adapt our processes and learning practices. We aim to make onboarding more practical and guided, expand mentoring programs, and simplify internal documentation and enhance communication transparency. We continue to develop micro-learning formats for the trainings and strengthening digital collaboration tools. If the knowledge and the transfer of the knowledge is more accessible, is continuous, and aligns to their narrative, let's say, maybe the results will be different in the future. For us, for the Microsoft, as a conclusion, in general, as my colleague said, and for us as an employer in Romania that had a lot of experience with the youngest, maybe the solution is not to stay at this level, to go there, to go for them, to put them all the information that they can adapt to. The microfinance sector offers purpose, offers community impact and meaningful careers. Young professionals can find here a place. But we need dialogue. We need to continue to adapt together. We need to adapt our companies and our processes because they find us very complicated, and they find us they need everything to be fast. Generation Lunar is a path to sustain our mission in the future, is what we were thinking about regarding young employers.
Thank you, Nicoleta, so much for your presentation. I think it's very important what you say, that we need to revise our institutions to understand how we can better engage, and not only expect from the young people, but also be able to revise how we are doing things in order to habilitate this dialogue. We can open the round of questions now, if there are any. We have 4 minutes to address them. There's one question in the chat from Leila, who says that it's not very clear to me the resistance to digitalize. I think it's really what is missing in ethical banking at the moment, along with the usual high fees for day-to-day banking for young adults. I think this relates a bit to what Florian said before. If you allow me, I just want to do one quick comment, and then I will leave you the floor. I think when we discuss about ethical banks, and it's not the case of every ethical bank, but it's a common shared problem, the digitalization part. What I think, Florian, you were trying to say is that it's not a priority in the sense of like we are very busy trying to invest money on transforming the real economy in the communities around us, and usually digitalization means very, very, very high investments and a lot of time and a lot of money to put into that. I think the approach that I've shared with many ethical banks is that they are not at all against that. They see it as a need and they see it as something that we should pursue at some point, but competing a bit sometimes with the high investment that this requires, and many of them are trying to balance it on how to catch up with the fast pace that the world is taking, and not stop doing what we are really meant to do. No, I don't know, Florian, if this is what you meant, or you want to add something to this?
Yeah. No, I think Maria is spot on with this. I will add that, of course, yeah, we have a problem in terms of investment. It requires a lot of investment, and it's very resource intensive when we implement digital anything. But also we have to make sure that when we implement anything that is digital, we can still convey our values. And this is key, because if we want to actually digitalize, we need to make sure that what we do is still showing. For example, if we want to have a conversation with someone, we can easily convey our values. We can have a chat with them to see how it resonates. When we put it in a website or in a mobile app, how does it resonate? We can have no idea. And this is also the discussion that we have at the moment, which of course it will be important, and we want to make sure that we still get connected to young people, but that also we also have to ask us these questions.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the question. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and we have a question from As Vaclav. Sorry for the pronunciation. I think you can unmute yourself now and ask the question out loud, if you would like, or write it on the chat. Okay. Okay, if Has is not there, or I would leave in the chat the links and the resources that were mentioned today, like the policy brief I mentioned at the beginning, the website of everyone who has participated today, and also my contact in case you would like to, I don't know, contact Florian to understand more about the products they develop, or Yolanda or Nicoleta for specific things. Feel free to reach out to me. And I can, of course, put you in contact. It's important that we keep this conversation alive, and it doesn't necessarily have to be here, but yes, back home in your own communities. No? So my message here before ending would be, go out there, look for the young people. They are there. They are somewhere. Maybe you don't know where to look for them, but they are there. Take the time to go out, talk to them, and not only your son or your daughter, talk to young people that are willing to change the world, because it's a very inspiring thing to do, but sometimes you don't know where to start. And talk to them and try to find a common ground on what they need and what you can offer, and things happen after you sit everyone around the table and you give everyone the legitimacy to talk and to express. So yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, MFC, for organizing this. I will release you all now. I'm happy that we're in time. I hope you enjoyed the session, and thank you all the speakers for joining today.